Hey everyone, just wanted to show you my Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th coffee table I'm working on. This is phase one. So as you can see here, just have a pretty simple box, 24 by like 9 or 10 inches deep. Again, pretty simple to make. Just need some bolts, nuts. A friend of mine was actually able to help me with this. Thank you to my friend Chad. And then for the top, much like on some other ones we've seen before on other videos, like RLS effects, top is basically a lot of planks, plywood, just broken up board that you can use, either cut yourself and just kind of either glue or secure it on. This is kind of a combination of glue and nails, and it'll be painted with some plexiglass in the middle that you can change out from time to time. Looking at a little of the details here, so underneath I actually started with a few things. So I actually had this right here, which is styrofoam for displays, that for making things like flowers and things like that, arrangements. You can buy that at Michael's or Joann's or any kind of hobby shop or things of that sort where you live. And I put that all underneath, so that was kind of my base underneath. The good thing about that is because it's the material it's pliable, so that if you were to poke some of these leaves and some of this shrubbery that's in here, it just secures right into there, so it doesn't come out of place. It looks a little more authentic. Then I put the Jason down. I did use a styrofoam head underneath, and again, I found that at Joann's or Michael's or one of those two. I did have to shave it a little bit because this box is not as deep as I originally wanted it to be. So you may have to shave it back a little bit. And then I basically secured it and stapled it down so it wouldn't come loose, to give it that three-dimensional look. And then underneath, if you can see here, I just got basically a mask offline with a full upper body piece that you can have. So therefore I was able to kind of secure that to the mannequin head. The mannequin head I had a small upper body piece as well. This way it allowed me to kind of secure that to it and have a little bit more to play with. So I recommend you doing that. And basically just secured it to it. The shirt I found at a surplus store, a thrift store, so that I'm not damaging one of my own. It's a basic blue shirt, kind of a work shirt, so that kind of worked out. In a lot of the movies you see Jason, and he kind of has those kind of work shirts or one-piece kind of outfits. You've probably seen him in the movies before. The chain I had, so I just kind of grabbed the old chain, ran it around his neck, secured it, anchored it to the bottom, and just kind of had it coming down so it goes down the center of his body, kind of like in some of the movies you see where he's got a chain around his neck. I thought that was kind of a cool addition that I saw in some previous videos. And again, so underneath with the moss, I bought 4 or 5 different types of mosses that you can buy in packs that come in a variety pack, or just a straight particular kind. But what I did do is, if you look here, with this green moss here, it's a real base moss. It's real cheap, but it comes in with like tape on one side so that you can actually secure it and cut it pretty easily. It almost is like a rug, a green rug that you can put down. Now it's a great way to just run it along your entire base on top of that styrofoam, and then kind of work your Jason around it. So I kind of I cut a piece out and then tucked the shirt in, as you can see there, so the whole shirt's not exposed, and just basically had like a base for where I wanted to work around him. So I thought that came out pretty good. And then I really just kind of added different moss in, moving the leaves around, seeing what I liked, putting different things in there. Some of the rock I had, again, some of the rock I bought, it's pretty cheap to buy that stuff too. So I added that in, so it almost looks like it's on a riverbank or stream or in the woods. And then I basically glued a lot of it. A lot of it I used spray glue, so I tested it. So you can use something like this. It's a high strength adhesive. And I use that to secure the rocks and just kind of spray it throughout. Make sure you're in a ventilated area so it keeps this whole diorama kind of in place, but it gives you enough room where you can kind of move things if you need to at a later date. But overall, I think it came out pretty good. And to get the wet look, you can use an epoxy where you kind of pour that in. It takes a bit of time. I use this clear glaze. It's a spray can, and I used several coats of it. So depending on how wet you want it to look and the appearance, I sprayed especially the plants down, the mask, the body, the chain to give it that wet look. Even some of these branches you can see. And it really gives that authentic wet look like you'd see in a kind of a wooded area. Again, I'm probably going to do a couple more coats of it just to make sure. You really can't see how it's so glossy quite yet, but... And then for the eyes, I kind of just blacked out with spray paint a little bit, darkened it so that it gives that dark Jason look when you're looking at it, those dark eyes where you really can't see into the soul at all. I think it looks pretty cool. And then right here is kind of what it would look like with the top on. And again, the plexiglass I'm probably going to replace. It was a little scratched up, but I think it looks pretty good still. Gives you an idea. And again, you can kind of adjust it. And then what I'm going to do is put some lights running with some LED tape on the inside and kind of running a cable where you can turn it on and off so that you'll see like green or blues or LED white light in there, and to kind of see if it adds a little bit better effect to it, draws attention to it. But I think overall it came out pretty awesome. And hopefully that helps somebody else make one for themselves.